and there may be few who wouldn't understand English. Tell me in which language should I speak? I can understand Rajagopalji speaking in Malayalam because anyway, those who are working with him know what he is speaking. Would you like to speak in English? Yeah, okay. Malayalam, English അറിയാത്തവരെ വലിയ നഷ്ടപ്പെടുന്നൊന്നുമില്ല. നമുക്കറിയാവുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് കേരളത്തിൽ ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത്. Land reforms have been a very important national idea. And it was also a cardinal principle around which our national movement was mobilized. Land reforms were important for three reasons. One, it can importantly contribute to reduction in poverty, bring down inequality. It's a very important redistributive measure. At the time, 70% of the population was dependent upon agriculture, and land was the main productive asset, and therefore redistribution of that asset would automatically have brought down the inequality and the poverty. Now that's very, very clear enough. I don't think anybody would contest that. Redistribution of land automatically reduces poverty. Land reforms have been supported for a second reason. It's a very important element for social change. In traditional society of India, which is based on caste system, is reinforced by age-long denial of land rights to large sections of people on the basis of caste. You just don't have a right to own the land. And therefore land reforms undermines the caste system. And if you want, you can take the case of Kerala to great extent. If you take the history of Kerala, now I'm certain you will be traveling up north. Now you don't find much difference between northern Kerala and southern Kerala. Otherwise, traditionally, southern Kerala had much higher literacy, better health care, and more social movements, while the north remained backward. Now, if you want a scientific explanation for it, it lies within the land relations. The process of state formation in the 18th century resulted in a significant redistribution of land from the landed gentry in the 18th century in southern region, while in northern Kerala the traditional feudal system continued. And you have both northern and southern Kerala developing along two trajectories. I don't want to go into details, but a simple fact which will bring you very sharply what I'm trying to say. Say at the time the first census was made, okay, by then there was not much difference between literacy between northern Kerala and southern Kerala. In fact, scholars like Kathleen Gow has argued that in the end of 18th century, when the British actually arrived here, northern Kerala was better in terms of literacy. But then if you follow the census one after another, you will find the difference between northern Kerala and southern Kerala in terms of literacy rate widening. Now, when does the gap begin to close? That is after post-independence period, when first steps were taken in northern Kerala for land reforms. So land reforms in Kerala has been a very important social level. So this is second reason why land reforms are important. And third, and this is controversial, land reforms can increase the productivity and production. Now, classical economics, the argument is that tenant who doesn't have the land has no incentive to increase the productivity, because whatever higher productivity that ensues will be taken away by the landlord. And that's the classical argument for doing away with landlordism. Now this has been accepted by and large, even by the planners at the beginning of the planning period. Now what has changed? These were the three reasons why people in the national movement and the initial decades of independence were very fervently in favor of land reforms. What has happened since then? As Rajagopalji has touched upon, though there has been much talk about land reform, nothing much has been done, except states like Kerala and Bengal, or I would say add even Kashmir. Except for them, nothing has been done very much. And now what has happened is, with the liberalization, land reforms have been removed from the national agenda. It is in the 9th plan last time the Planning Commission put out a separate chapter for land reform. Now 12th, the upward document of the 12th plan is not yet out, but be sure, not only will there not be land reform, but on the hand, we will have a reverse process being put forward as policy of corporatization, contract farming and whatnot, removal of ceilings, etc., etc. The reason put forward is simple. Now, they do not claim, they say that land reforms will not increase productivity. There are two sets of people who have argued land reforms will increase productivity in India. One is the Gandhian. For Gandhian movement, the argument is simple. Your technology that you propose, the kind of human nature interaction that you propose is scale neutral. I mean, you have been having here, say, the nature cultivation techniques and so on, zero budget cultivation, that is scale neutral. Whether you are cultivating in 10 cents or 10 acres of land, that is scale neutral. So Gandhians have always argued, have land reform, don't worry about productivity and so on, it will be productive. Now, left on the hand have been votaries of modern technology, modernizing agriculture. Now slightly tempered with the awareness, greater awareness of, say, environmental issues, but still they are modernizing argument. But they would also still argue that smaller units can produce better. Not because they are more productive, but because the poor landowner would work himself more intensively in his small plot of land. Because the wage labor, would not come into, say, in full force in the self-employment. The Lenin's term will be called self-exploitation. You intensively work and work. Suppose you are employing a wage laborer. How long will you employ him? Only till he is able to produce something more than the wages you pay him. But if you are working in your own land, that equation does not follow at all. You will continue to work as long as there is something additional, marginal from those small parcel of land. Therefore, these two sets of people have been arguing no. Have land reform, productivity will increase, even if the plot becomes small.